live stream. If you are listening to this in the podcast app, bear with us for one moment as we allow the feed to populate. My name is Rob Dauster. The gentleman you see next to me going back to the Alabama hat, trying to mix up the luck after he did not have a great night last night, is the one and only Jeffrey Goodman.
Great night. Just because I took Arizona State does not mean I didn't have a good night, Robert.
Are you ready to apologize to the people that you led astray by saying that Arizona State was going to keep it close with Arizona in Tucson?
They kept it close. They kept it within 25.
Look, they're not playing in Tempeh, okay?
Oh my God! Maybe they should play in Flagstaff or something. I don't know. But honestly, can we talk about this before we get on to anything else? I think we need to talk about the two most disappointing teams in college basketball this year. And one of them is Arizona State, and the other is Kentucky. Is there any debate at this point? Is there anybody else who can lay claim to joining Kentucky and Arizona State? And listen, you look at it and you say, there's a reason for it, right? Like Arizona State, two highly touted freshmen. They've been up and down. Kentucky loaded with new guys. Now, not everybody, Cade Cunningham's been just fine as a freshman. So not every freshman has been disappointing. But, man, those two teams have been not good at all.
I would disagree on saying Kentucky was not good. The results have been disappointing. I don't think that they're that far away from being if they were at 8-5 right now instead of 5-9 or 9-5 instead of 5-9, like we'd be having a different conversation in terms of what they are. And they're like 7 or 8 possessions away from being a 9-5 team. So I think the bigger thing with Kentucky is the results have really shown that this is a team that was that didn't have those couple of months in the offseason to get to know each other, to get to know what Coach Cal was expecting. So I'm not saying that justifies and says it's not a disappointing team, but I'm just saying they're still a top 50 team on a lot of the metrics, right? It's not like they're that far away from being really good. They just lost a bunch of close games that they had a chance to win. They melted down when they had a double-digit lead against North Carolina because none of their bigs could stay out of foul trouble. They were up 12 against Kansas at the Champions Classic and ended up giving that away because they couldn't find a way to guard Jalen Johnson on the perimeter in the second half. They were up by 6 with 3 minutes left against Georgia, and we gave that one away because Isaiah Jackson decided not to guard somebody on an inbounds play. So they're not
giving it. You're just saying, hey, listen. At this point, Arizona State is in a class by itself as the most disappointing team in college basketball.
No, because I think Kentucky deserves to be right there as well. I was not as high on Arizona State coming into the season as a lot of people, but
I was.
You'll get them right eventually. Look, all you have to do, Jeff. We talked about this with Alabama. All you have to do is keep saying every year that this is the year that Arizona State figures it out. This is the year that it all comes together for Bobby Hurley. And eventually you're going to be right. At some point, you're going to be right. So you got the strategy down with Alabama.
I did pick Alabama to win the SEC this year, and everybody said I was absolutely out of my mind. And we'll see. Tonight is a big game for the Crimson Tide. A big game because it's a revenge game against the Kentucky team that is probably feeling as good as it's felt all season long. And it's in Tuscaloosa.
Before we get into that, we have to talk about – let's talk a little bit about what happened last night because that game between West Virginia and Texas Tech was
crazy.
Maybe the most entertaining game of the season to date.
Yeah.
By the way, I made fun of you for the Arizona State picks. Great calls on the overs. You crushed that. 2 overs. 2 overs hit without a sweat.
2 overs and the Oklahoma State under. I was 3 for 3 last night in over-unders, by the way. I got a couple for you. I got a couple.
Yes, you were.
Don't worry. I'm on it now. I think I figured out the how to game the system. No, I definitely did not. But,
boy.
Mac McClung, Deuce McBride. I just wanted to see the two of them on the court and nobody else. Because, to me, again, West Virginia had some control over that game early. Texas Tech kind of hung around, fought back, went on that run, took control of the game. and you thought, okay, at this point, like Texas Tech's going to win this one going away. Like West Virginia couldn't score for a stretch there, and then to me, I think it just shows both these teams. I think they both have enough to get to the Final Four. I'm not sure they're not both getting there, but I'm saying like their personnel, when you look at them both, they score it better overall than they've scored it in many recent years. Like again, they got dudes that can make plays now off the bounce. Deuce McBride is awesome, love him, and McClung. Listen, he almost hit a shot to win it, and he had 30. What, he had 30 in a losing cause last night?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, give Chris Beard credit. Whatever he has done, I don't know what the secret sauce is with Mac McClung, but he's figured it out because Mac McClung was fun to watch, was way more under control, and has been for the last couple of weeks.
Well, part of that is just that he's now on a team where he doesn't have to do everything. Like part of the issue that he had at Georgetown was he was being asked to do everything. And when you're being asked to do everything, you're going to have to take some bad shots.
Pretty good.
In the mix.
When they had he was pretty good.
Yeah, and then Akinjo was gone for all of the second semester of last season. So that's when everyone saw Mac McClung just hoisting up shots and shooting 30-something% from three. Yep. So I think part of it is that, but he's definitely gotten better on the defensive end. He's bought in on the defensive end. There's no question that his shot selection has gotten better, and there's probably reasons for that beyond just like Chris Beard's coaching. But I mean, there's a reason we've discussed this. There's a reason why Mac McClung and Texas Tech just made perfect sense as a marriage. Now, as far as West Virginia is concerned, like they cannot rely on having to shoot 12 for 19 from three to be able to win games.
True.
They have to get better defensively. Like that's just that's full stop. I know that they're playing differently, and I know it's like the 4-round-1 system. And I know they're shooting a ton of threes,
in the middle of the year.
It's still jarring to see West Virginia force 4 turnovers in a basketball game. It's still like you just look at it, it's like, holy shit. It's still jarring to see them give up straight line drives over and over and over again. So, yes, you're right. They were awesome last night. That was such an entertaining basketball game, and we saw just how good West Virginia can be at their ceiling. And the biggest part of it, and I think what kind of proves your point is that we know exactly what West Virginia has to do to improve to be able to get to the point where they're a legitimate Final Four threat. That's get better defensively. Right. The one thing that Bob Huggins has proven the ability to do over the years is like manipulate his rosters and manipulate his teams to maximize what he has on the floor. Like people forget the Press Virginia teams, like they weren't supposed to be good. They were like 15-14, and then they had like Aaron Harris and Terry Henderson transfer out, and then all of a sudden, boom, you got Javon Carter and Daxter Miles coming in as freshmen, completely changed the tone of that roster. They're pressing everywhere, they're forcing turnovers everywhere, and all of a sudden, like the next 4 years are the best 4 years of West Virginia basketball in recent memory, maybe probably since John Beilein. So, I mean, I think that Bob Huggins will figure it out. I think that he has enough defensive players on the roster to be able to make this work. It's just a matter of getting the mixture right. And I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier to have what you do wrong exposed and still win a game than it is to have what you do wrong exposed and lose. Like that's the biggest thing that happened last night. We all know like they can't guard anyone. They can't keep anyone in front. Straight line drive, no turnover, open three, completely losing Mac McClung in a half court, but they still won. So like, that's the best case scenario right there. Also, Virginia made every three that they took, I think. Kihei Clark was awesome. I've never seen somebody dominate a game while scoring 4 points the way that Kihei Clark dominated that game while scoring 4 points. So, Virginia, I mean, look, if they are going to shoot like they have over the course like the last 2 or 3 weeks, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key, right?
Watch out.
Now, again, you know, their last 3 wins have been good. At Clemson, pounded Clemson. Georgia Tech came back and, you know, kind of gutted that one out, and they dominated Syracuse. I don't know if any of those 3 teams are lock NCAA tournament teams, but they're all good, solid teams. And Virginia's finally beating – it's better than Wake Forest and BC and even probably Notre Dame. So they're on their way. You know, I just don't know how many teams in the ACC are going to be like true barometers
Mhm.
for Virginia. I mean, they play at Virginia Tech. Well, Virginia Tech just lost one of its best players. NC State at NC State, Louisville at home. Like, just don't know how much we're going to know about how good Virginia is. Going into March, it's going to be interesting. I think they're a mystery team to some degree.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I will say this: when they shoot the way they did against Virginia, against Syracuse, they can they can basically play with anybody in the country. And they could probably beat anybody in the country, not named Gonzaga and not
Yeah, but
named
are they
Baylor.
getting those looks? Are they getting those consistent looks that they got
I
in
mean,
that crappy zone last night? It was awful.
yeah, it was a very, very bad zone. And Kihei Clark, by the way, Kihei Clark from the high post. I'm gonna I got the
Good
bet
call.
wrong, but I got Kihei Clark in the high post right, so I'm taking that with me. I need all the wins I can get right now. I'm struggling, but yeah, I'm definitely part of that was that Syracuse couldn't guard, but this is also like 3 out of 4 games where West Virginia has gotten a lot of good looks and made all of it. Sam Hauser has not missed a shot in 3 months. Okay,
Well,
he's ridiculous.
yeah,
Like every
it's funny. It's so funny though, because when I was in Mohegan Sun, that first game they played that way against Towson, and we were all like, "Oh my God, West Virginia!"
Mhm.
I mean, Virginia's got a chance to win the national title again. Like they're that good. And then the next game against USF, they were dreadful. And then we're like,
Yep.
all right, maybe they're not that good offensively. I
Yeah.
just think the bottom line is they're not going to have every night like that where they're shooting the hell out of the ball. So their defense
Yes.
is going to have to improve. It's good. It's just not what we expect out of Virginia's defense. Now, it was good last night. I mean, Syracuse just looked like garbage. Like, I really thought Syracuse was making strides towards becoming a lock NCAA tournament team, and maybe they
I
will
did too.
be. I just think they have the talent. Like, I was really disappointed in their performance last night. Really disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. But the other problem is like they're playing Merrick Dolezaj at the 5, and like that's just putting him out of position. Like I'm
Right.
not trying to call him out and say like he's a bad
No, it shouldn't
basketball
be
player.
there. Shouldn't be.
But he's like a hybrid 3-4 playing the 5, and the whole concept of the Syracuse zone is to have like a 7'2" dude that blocks everything around the basket and can get rebounds, and they don't have that, and it changes everything. It makes it so that all of the perimeter players have to make up for it a little bit more, and that's why you get with quick ball movement, quick passes, you're able to get those open looks. So I'm starting to buy into the idea that Virginia is like a top 18 in the country. But again, it's similar to Iowa in the sense that like they're very 3-point dependent to me at this point. But I mean, how many times are we gonna have to see him shoot like this before I'm just like, hey, you know what? Maybe they're just a really good shooting team. So
Well, let's watch it tonight.
I'm getting there. All right. We have a fun slate. This is actually a much more exciting slate than I was expecting.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of good 7 o'clock games too. Like on Tuesdays, normally it's the 9 o'clock games that are good. But we got Oklahoma, Texas at 7. We got Kentucky, Alabama at 7. We have Mississippi State, Tennessee at 7. So Jeffrey,
don't forget about SMU Memphis. Come on, Rob.
SMU Memphis. Oh yeah, great little NIT second round preview right there for everybody.
Hey.
All right. So, what is you got a favorite bet of the day, favorite game of the day, favorite total of the day? What do you got, Jeffrey? What do you want to talk about first?
Yeah, I'll go with a total of the day that I kind of like at this point, and I guess it's the over in the Tennessee Mississippi State game. That's where I'm going with this. The over in the Tennessee, yes, the over under is 131. Tennessee has not been as dominant defensively as they were early on in the season, and their offense has probably gotten a little bit better because of that. They're averaging in league play, they're averaging 74 points a game. Mississippi State's averaging 72 in a game per game in league play. That leads me to believe that this is going to be a more high-scoring affair than people would realize. And again, the over/under is 131. I like the over in that one. The games themselves, I don't know. I mean, to me, again, I don't know. You go first. I'm still kind of thinking about these, and I don't have a great feel for any of those three. Oklahoma, Texas. You like Texas or no?
Yeah, I really like Texas in this spot.
Yeah.
I think that they have the perimeter players to kind of take away the Oklahoma guards. I don't think Austin Reeves is going to get much going against that Texas backcourt. Like they have guys that can really guard. Their bigs can move around on the perimeter with like Brady Manick and those guys. So like I don't expect them to really get it going. I know Shaka Smart's not going to be there.
Right.
But the one thing I'll say is this: like that brought the line down a little bit, which makes it that much more intriguing to me. We have Oklahoma coming off of a home win against the Kansas team that's a little bit overrated, going on the road to Texas. This is a great sell high spot on Oklahoma. So I'm going to hope that line comes down a little bit because people are scared of Shaka Smart not being there and try to get it at like 4.5 or 4.
You know what?
That'd be the ideal.
I'm going Texas here, and I'm going over. I'm going to go both. I think this is going to be an up and down affair. It should.
That's
be.
what Oklahoma's going to try to make it be.
Right.
We'll see
And
if that ends
Texas
up working for
that
them.
way too. So I think this is a Texas over deal for me. Kentucky, Alabama is again a tough one for me because Alabama beat the living crap out of them in Lexington. And the last time, how about this? The last time that Alabama has swept Kentucky, 88-89. It has been a long time, Robert, since this has happened. Now
that was the year that Kentucky, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, Jeffrey. That was the year that Kentucky was dealing with the sanctions from Eddie Sutton and his assistants getting caught sending $1,000 in an envelope to was it Chris Mills? Yeah,
there was a little Chris Mills action. Yeah, I mean, listen, I just Alabama's a better team. We know that. It's at home. Alabama's won 9 straight. They're probably the hottest team in the country, other than Gonzaga and Baylor right now. But Kentucky's got some swagger right now. You know, they're coming in thinking they're a different team. They just beat up on LSU handily. And the key, and what I've said all year, the key is Brandon Boston. He's been good the last 2 games. He's scored 18 in each of the last 2. I think Kentucky can cover the 8 points in this game. I don't think they win, but I think they can cover the 8.
So I think I kind of agree with you. The only thing that concerns me is that teams get a lot of open threes against Alabama's defense. Kentucky can't really shoot, and so much of what we want Kentucky to be comes down to whether or not we've talked about this ad nauseum, and I feel like I'm just a broken record. But Kentucky's offense is they run the same thing over and over again, and now BJ Boston's making shots that does change things a little bit. Keon Brooks is playing more minutes. That does change things a little bit. And actually, I honestly think that he's the key, Keon Brooks here, because he's the guy that you can put out there at the 4 and at the 5 if you need to be able to match up with all of the perimeter oriented guys that Alabama has on their roster. So I think that he's the key. The thing is is Kentucky going to crash the offensive glass? Like the big advantage that they have is offensive rebounding here. Like they're a really good offensive rebounding team.
Without Bruner and right, Rojas is hurt. Like they're just
But part of that plays into Alabama's hands because they kind of like I don't want to say they allow you to get offensive rebounds, but they are less concerned about second chance opportunities than they are in being able to get out and run a transition. Like I think Ron Hunter a couple of years ago went on this rant about how he doesn't care about giving up offensive rebounds. He wants to be able to get out and transition. Like that's what's more important to him is to get those open threes and open looks going the other way. And I think that there's a little bit of that philosophy with Alabama as well. And if you don't crash the glass, if you're Kentucky and you're just completely worried about giving up those transition opportunities, like that's how we see what happened in that Auburn game where there was 4 points in the first 10 minutes. So it'll be interesting. I kind of honestly think that I lean towards Alabama here, especially if the line's at 8 right now, right?
Yes.
So I kind of think I lean towards Alabama in this spot, but it's probably going to end up being a stay away from me.
What else do you like? The ones, I mean, we can go through every one of them. I don't think we need to go through every single one of these.
I like Mississippi State plus 9.5 against Tennessee,
Yeah.
because where we've seen Mississippi State have success defensively is guarding ball screens, clogging the paint, and forcing teams to try to shoot jumpers over the top. And I think that is that's why I was on Mississippi State against Missouri, right? Because Missouri runs a ton of ball screens. They don't really shoot the ball that well. And I don't think Tennessee shoots the ball all that well, especially if Jaden Springer is banged up or not playing. 9.5 points is a lot of points. And like you said, like Tennessee has not been as good defensively as we've seen them be in recent years or in recent weeks. So I kind of like Mississippi State in that spot. I also think I know that the lines moved all the way to Auburn -3, but I still think I like Auburn there. I still think I do, especially if Justin Powell is back too. I don't know if he is. I don't know. That's why I said if.
I don't know, and I'll try to find out. I mean, the other one that's intriguing is Georgia Tech at Duke, right? Like Duke's favored by 4. Georgia Tech's been playing well. Duke's on that 3-game losing streak. All of them have been on the road. Now they go back home. Like, I want to take Duke, but I don't have any confidence. Like, are they really going to lose another one, a 4th straight at home?
I don't know. I kind of like Georgia Tech in that spot, man.
I don't. I'm staying away.
Duke is 1-9 against the spread this year. 1-9. Like, fading Duke has been the most profitable thing that you could do all season long.
I could see Duke winning on like a last second shot or something like that tonight, or playing a really close game and not covering, but winning. All right, so the ones I really like, I'll give you 2 that I like. One I really like is Dayton getting 10 against St. Louis. Do you know the last time St. Louis played?
A long time ago. Oh, that's right. They're coming off the pause.
December 23rd, Rob. December 23rd. Seriously. Dayton stinks. I get it. But like December 23rd, that's over a month.
It's a long time. You're right. Good point.
They're getting 10. Like I'm gonna lock that one in now. Like, I haven't locked anything in yet. That's my first one that I really like tonight. It's an 8:30 game, and I like that one a lot tonight. So that's my favorite one. What about the big undefeated match? Drake is the one of 4 undefeated teams left in the country. They're favored by 3.5 against Missouri State. I like Missouri State there. I think Drake goes down here. They're coming off a pause.
So that line has moved to 4. And by the way, Georgia Tech is now getting 6 points at Duke. For the record.
Wow.
So I'll take
the points. Yeah, I'll take the points there and say that Duke's not going to blow anybody out. That it'll be a close one. So I kind of like that. Drake's last game, well, it's been 2 weeks. A little over 2 weeks. I think they might have lost some Uncle Mo there in that time. And Missouri State is probably the 3rd best team in the in the Valley. Loyola and Drake are 1A and 1B. You go to Missouri State, Dana Ford's got talent there. Again, I just wonder if Drake has lost some mojo, a little bit of mojo.
And also, like, Drake is undefeated, but they haven't really beaten anybody.
Right.
So
right. That's exactly right.
I love the Missouri State logic. I'll follow you on that. I love the Dayton logic. I'll follow you on that. That's 2 of my picks. I'm going to be on Georgia Tech. Getting the points there on the road, just because like I'm fading Duke until it burns me, and it hasn't burned me very much yet this year.
It has not. No, you've after like day 1, you've been fine with it. I think you screwed up like on the first game, and then you watched them once, and you were like, they stink.
I don't even think I bet on them against Coppin State, but I watched. I remember, like, I specifically remember it was like 2 a.m. and I couldn't sleep. So I was like, what am I going to fuck it? I'll watch this Duke Coppin State game. I was like, holy shit, these dudes are terrible. And so like I immediately, the app that I used, I had lines for the Duke Michigan State game and the Duke Illinois game like weeks in advance. So I put like so much. The reason I've been cold for like 2 weeks straight. And the reason why I am profitable still on the season is because I bet so much money on the Illinois and Michigan State money lines that I still got
Play
money
with
to
house
lose.
money.
I'm still giving the books back their money at this point, Jeff. All right, but anyway,
right.
What did I say?
What do you got? You got Georgia Tech. What else you got tonight?
So the dogs I like are Georgia Tech, Dayton, Missouri State. Those three, right?
Yeah.
I am going to be on Alabama at home. I'm going to be on Texas at home. I'm going to take the Mississippi State, and I'm going to jump on that Mississippi State Tennessee over with you. That's what I got. 7 picks tonight.
Oh boy, I got a lot. I gotta look through it. Ready?
Yeah, hold on, everyone that's listening right now, you got to understand that. Like while we're getting on this stream, Jeff is like, "Oh man, I've never felt so unprepared." I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be a big night for me. And then 20 minutes later, I got a lot. Right. I got a lot of picks. I'm gonna pick 15 games tonight, guys. You ready to go? Let's do this.
All right, I'm with you on Texas. I'm also going the Texas over. I'm gonna take Kentucky +8. I'm gonna take the Mississippi State over. I'm gonna take Georgia Tech with you. Definitely on Georgia Tech. I'm going to take Uncle Mo State, Mo and momentum, because that's what Drake has lost.
Is that what it is? Uncle Mo State for
Uncle Mo State. That's right.
Oh,
that's right. I'm going to take Dayton. I'm going to take. I think that's the gist of most of it. And then I got a couple more small ones. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Taking Eastern Illinois against SIUE. That's Edwardsville for those counting.
What's the logic there?
6.5. Eastern Illinois is really a good team. They're at home. They're one of the top teams in the Ohio Valley. SIUE is not. They're one of the worst teams. I'm surprised the line is only 6.5. So I like that one. And then I like the under in the Toledo-Miami game. Okay, under, it's 147, and I like the over in the Eastern Michigan Akron game. The over/under is 142 in that. I like the over there. So you got 3, 6? That's about 9, I think. We're looking about 9, maybe 10, something like that. You got them all. I'm going to put them all in bet spurts when I get done here. So
I'm logging all of mine in right. I'm logging all of mine in right now.
I was 5-2 yesterday on BetSports, despite that awful performance by Arizona State. I honestly couldn't even stay up for the end of it. It was such a rout. I gave up at halftime.
I was in the middle. I was on Locker Room with Deshaun, and it was like 11:15. And I just, you know how, when you have your computer up, it'll be like if you're on ESPN, it'll be like top left corners, the scores. I saw that it was 22-4, and I was like, I guess I don't have to watch this game. Yes,
over, absolutely over. I think my favorite one tonight though is probably Dayton, Rob. I think that's where I'll go heaviest. That's a long time to be off, Rob. A long time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, check BetSports, and we'll see you tomorrow, all right?